Hi, everybody. My name's Jo, and I'm here again with Rose for our part 2 of our alchemical journeys between us, and it's really exciting to have Rose back. Hi, Rose.
Good morning, Jo. I am Rose, and it's really good to be back online with Jo again. It's taken quite a while and been an interesting journey to get here, but we're here.
Yeah, we seem to have so much technical difficulty, but we did it today.
Well done us.
Yeah, really well done us. So I thought we'd continue on from our lovely conversation. And today you mentioned before we pressed record that this is a significant day today, actually, or yesterday it began.
Yeah, yesterday, when I lived in Cornwall, we always celebrated. I met up with a group of people, and they used to come from sometimes all over the world. There is something called the Wheel of the Year, if anybody wants to look it up. And there are sun festivals and earth festivals. And the sun festivals are the solstices and the equinoxes. And the earth festivals, today is the third. Usually, yesterday was the Imbolc, Imbolc. It's a Celtic festival. Yesterday was the actual day, but I'm told that the energy is there for about 3 days, so we're still within it. And you have Imbolc, you have Beltane, which is the 1st of May and May Day energies. And then you have the one in August, Lammas. And then there is one in November, and I can't remember its name. If it comes halfway through, it's the one where you're putting the energy to bed. This one, Imbolc, is the first awakening deep in the earth of the growth energies. The shoots start to feel the energy and start to be activated. And traditionally, in Celtic tradition, it was the day that the ewes, the female sheep, their milk started to move and be released, ready for the lambs.
Oh, interesting.
We are now in Mediterranean. How it operates here, I still haven't fathomed.
Yeah, because I noticed that the lambs, there are lambs already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're right by the sea and the foot of an enormous mountain, so we don't have sheep and lambs on view. Yes, we do, because they're driven. Yeah, but in the mountains, not down here in Kalkan.
So how can that relate to us as humans, do you think?
Well, it does, because I try to celebrate all these festivals, and it's really useful. It puts you in touch with the earth. It puts you in touch, literally in touch with the heavens and the light and the movement of the stars and the movement of the energies.
Yeah.
And we have a fire circle in the garden, and because of various things, it's more difficult for me to work with that now. But I should have been out there yesterday with candles and fire and lighting the fire. In the summer here, it was so hot you wouldn't dare light a fire. I mean, it would have gone everywhere. Yeah. Now it's so wet and cold and gales, it wouldn't light. So I've got candles going in the other room instead.
Really nice, really interesting. And I know we were talking previous to this, to us talking on record, and I had a really lovely message from a lady that I met that came and stayed here. She was a friend of a chap who's got a coffee shop down the road, and she came and stayed. And what was interesting was he sent her about 4 or 5 different accommodations, but she said that she chose mine because of the energy she felt from it, which was really brilliant for me. I love that. Anyway, we did I used to serve her breakfast, and she would want to talk with me for ages and ages, and we would talk about so many different subjects. But I got this lovely little message, Rose, and it relates to something that we said. She was saying that she had this dream about, and I was in her dream, and she was seeing in the blackest of skies this beautiful blue spiral, and she was asking me, Jo, can you see what I see? And it's really interesting because I replied, I said, it's really interesting because I've been thinking about the spiral, the crystal spiral, a lot lately. So maybe that was our energetic connection. That's why I came into your dream. And she said, I feel like something new is happening in my life and within me. This beginning started with me, which was beautiful over our breakfasts. And we mentioned this, didn't we, Rose, about the different energy that we're feeling. Even though we're getting bombarded with storms, there was an energy that's different.
Yes.
This year.
It feels different, and there are a couple of astrologers to me, really good ones that I follow. One is Pam Gregory, and the other one is Lee Ellis. I think it's Ellis. He does an energy forecast once a month. And they have talked about this new energy coming in. It just feels a bit different.
How does it feel for you?
Oh, put me on the spot.
Yeah, I like it.
My mind has gone completely blank. It's more creative. It's calmer.
Yeah.
And interestingly, look at the weather is somewhat different too.
Really different, I feel.
I mean, everybody has been noticing from before this new year, even the new solar year, that the weather has not been the same as it has before. We have mutual friends in Sweden, and I knew one of these friends from when I lived in Cornwall, well, both of them from when I lived in Cornwall, and I've always loved watching their deep snows, which come in November, early December. They didn't have the deep snows until New Year, I think, or after New Year. It kept melting. And here we haven't had enough rain for years.
No.
I think we've probably had quite enough now.
Gosh, we have that. I'm a bit like, I'm bored of it now, but not in it for the land. I'm not, but it's totally different feeling, isn't it? From our summers.
I'm looking at my land, and you know, I'm out there fairly regularly sweeping the leaves and pulling stuff up and starting to deal with it. It's difficult with my eyes because I don't know how much I can do. But A, it's cold, and B, it's windy, and C, it's just too wet.
Yeah.
So,
and for people listening, we live in Turkey, me and Rose. We live about 4 or 5 hours away from each other. So I'm in Antalya region, and you're in Antalya region, aren't you? But on the other side.
We are the furthest point before it moves into Mula, which is spelled Nugla. And the border is not that far from us. We're the furthest we can get on the edge of Antalya to the west, I think it is, or the north.
And it's similar for me, the energy feels, even though but I feel the weather is really in alignment with the energy that I'm feeling, because it's a shedding, it's a clearing, because I'm lucky to see the ocean from where I live, and the sound of it, I can hear it in my lounge, you know, but it's forever moving and turning, and the water is the cleanest I've seen it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, I look in Cornwall, we have a friend, Lynn, who lives in Sweden, and she's been in Cornwall and she couldn't get back because of the rains.
That's right.
And I lived in Cornwall for 6 years, and I've been watching. Some of it is AI, which is really bewildering.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize that, looking at some of the storms, because Penzance Promenade always had waves that went up over the houses that were the other side. That was the norm.
Yeah.
But then it's been more rough with stuff strewn all over the place. And friends have said, don't believe it. It's not that bad. But looking at the seas, they're extremely turbulent.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not a fearful energy. It's not like, oh my God, it's more of it just feels so deep.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. It just feels like we really are. And this winter, January, I absolutely love, because I've really surrendered to, if I want to sleep, I'm sleeping. You know, this doing, I'm trying to put that to the side, because I really want to be in the wintering.
Oh my goodness, don't. I fight guilt because I'm a doer.
Yeah.
I just haven't wanted to do at all. And
I know.
So guilty. But something that came to me is, you know, we have been mistreating our planet. Never mind global warming or carbon levels or anything like that. Forget that. But we have been mistreating the planet, digging it up, blasting it through, using chemicals, spraying with chemtrails. It's not just humans. We've been misusing our planet for a very long time. And it suddenly the other day it came through. I wonder if this is Earth answering back in some way, not objecting, but trying to get through in some way.
It does feel like a cleanse, because not only have we contaminated, you know, with how we do things, but also, with the chemtrails and everything else that are directing at us.
And altering, you know, Turkey is an extraordinary place to live with huge mountains. And if they want to get from A to B and there's a mountain in the way, they just blast it.
Yes, horrendous.
We're brought up in England, you don't see anything like that. It's much more gentle. But here it's very violent. And on long journeys, you know, I've become increasingly aware of how arrogant and how violent we are and how we just treat our planet in an appalling way. Don't even say sorry or warn that we're going to do this. So in a way, it's a good thing to live here because you see it right in front of your face.
Right in front. We went to collect our water on Sunday. I did a little short video for it, and you go through a 7-minute tunnel. I know, it's horrendous. And what it is, like, especially in the summer, you can go from this side into the tunnel. When you go outside, it's at least 10 degrees colder every time.
Oh.
From that difference of that land. And it takes us from A to B, but the mountains are so, I mean, you can still see doorways and windows in our mountains. They're, you know, from the cataclysms and everything else. But Rose, I want to go on to this. You moved to Kalkan in Turkey, which we spoke about, and you mentioned that it was quite a very touristic area, very English, isn't it? There, very British.
Yeah, I think your area is more German.
Yeah, it is. And
very British.
Yeah, very British. If I need an England fix, I like to come to Kalkan because it just gives me, it's like Little Britain.
Yep.
But you mentioned that it was very there was not really much, because you were so used to being in the healing circles and doing the work for yourself and with others in ceremonies and things. And you actually decided to bring to manifest, I don't know whether it's manifest, in Kalkan and bring healers there because you felt something was needed. Can you explain that?
Well, when I moved down to Cornwall, I mean, I've been connected with all sorts of Gurdjieff, Sufism. I've been exploring and experimenting. So I moved down to Cornwall because I felt I was called. And then I met up with earth energy through Hamish and Bar and books and so on. And also we had this, then I met the Wheel of Life, celebrating the festivals throughout the year and meeting up with people. So it was very earth connected and very real in a way. And then my mind's going to go blank now. So after, I mean, I was there for 5 years and it was an extraordinarily powerful experience spiritually, physically, and so on. And then I was called, I was called to go to Turkey, which I'd always felt I had no connection with. So it was quite extraordinary. And I felt the power of Turkey immediately. And I went to Kalkan because my daughter had established herself here, partly established herself here. But I was thrown into the deep end. You know, I went in, I moved on my own, and I only knew 2 people in Kalkan. And they were both working in tourism. So I had to go around and find things to do at the age of 68.
Oh, 68. I was going to say, what age were you then? 68.
I think I was 68.
Wow.
And I came just after my birthday at the beginning of May. And I then had to live, having been mixing with these people who were exploring with earth energy and spirituality and chakras and things like this, to be thrown into mammon, I think I can't think of another word. It was just total indulgence, really. It was drinking, and there seemed to be large numbers of women who were living here who needed Turkish men.
Okay. That was the time.
It was quite extraordinary. I sort of watched this, and I was part of it on the outside. I mean, some of it was horrendous. I won't go into it, but it was absolutely extraordinary watching this. And I got entangled on the edge of this, and my life became really. I mean, I got entangled with Turkish men, but I got involved with the women and having to help out if things went wrong. and it was an extraordinary and disruptive and extraordinary experience. I also came out with a friend who I thought was a spiritual lady, and it turned out she was not, or there were other things that were more important. So I mean, it was a real boom, eye opener.
Right.
And it got to be, I just felt I was being buffeted around, and I couldn't find my feet spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
There were actually, because I can't remember how. Oh yeah, there was a quest that came up, and in the middle of this, I had a spiritual quest come in that I had to do, which had to take place in the middle of all this stuff. So I then, because it was an extraordinary time, and I saw these women and the men behaving badly, and I thought, I don't want to be part of this. So I actually told myself to close down, and it's like I bought some kind of shutter down inside. I don't want to be part of this. I'm not having anything to do with this. I'm just going to focus on who I am and the spiritual aspect of this place. Now, where was I, Joe?
Yeah, you were
Back to the question you asked me. It's me age.
No, it's fine. You decided from this point, it feels like you're going into the question of you decided to bring some more healing energy and spirituality.
Yeah. Having sort of reconnected in some ways with the spiritual aspect. I mean, I lived alone, and I lived high up looking over the sea on a roof terrace. And I mean, that was beautiful, the views and so on, but everything was so different. It was an extraordinary disorientating experience. So I thought, well, you know, I knew people and worked in a different way back then. I knew a lot of healers. And one day I sat there and thought, this place is just awful. Maybe the healers will be able to make a difference.
Yeah.
So I sent messages back to Lynn and to Hamish and Bar, and nobody was interested. Nothing happened. That went on for a long time. But then, you know, slowly I found within Calcan and Cash, I found other connections. To start with, it was nightmare, because the extraordinary people and extraordinary, now very funny, but at the time not. I mean, I had just assumed from being in Cornwall for 5 years, meeting these people and building up a spiritual experience, that this existed elsewhere. And if somebody was spiritual, they would be the same. And I met people who were not. Obviously, looking back, I was learning a hard lesson, and I'm a tough cookie. So it had to be really quite painful. And it took a long time, but eventually the healers did come.
Yeah, brilliant.
But from another direction.
Yeah. And one of the quests was, I always say it wrong, is it Trala? What? The eternal flames.
Oh, hold on.
In now we haven't done I haven't done my Trala at
Kerala. No. The it's on Mount Olympus.
Right.
And it's the eternal flame, and it's pronounced differently in Turkish from English, and I can't remember what it is. It will come. It's a mountainside below Mount Olympus, and it's at Kerala where they have the tree houses.
That's right.
And because it was Hamish, a friend of Hamish. Hamish has traveled the world, and if you look up Hamish Miller, and he wrote books with other people too, with Paul Brockenhurst, something like that. Oh dear, I'm so sorry, everybody, but today my mind is.
It's good. I'm punching questions at you, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember who it was in New Zealand. Hamish had made connections all over the world. He'd been to South Africa, and he'd got friends all over the world. He was an author. He was a blacksmith, an extraordinary guy. Another Tory, and we Taurians are very freaky. We are not conventional at all, on the whole. And he had a friend he was monitoring energy lines, and he had a friend in Africa who was monitoring an energy line that actually came up through Turkey and through this site. It was, what on earth was, anyway, it will come. And it was blocked.
Okay.
This site. So I decided, I think, no, they came over and it was our job to go and do that. I think I talked about that on the last
No,
conversation.
we haven't talked about it. The reason I want to ask is because your quest, and then I went, didn't I, and had quite a different experience.
You had well, it was an extraordinary experience in every way, both times, really. This group came over suddenly because this energy was blocked, and Hamish had so many contacts, and he put out that, you know, a group is needed to go to Turkey. 19 people signed up.
Wow.
Not only 19 people there, but somehow, I mean, online was starting. I'd started using a computer in Guildford, where I lived, Shalford, and then I built it up more in Cornwall. But I hadn't really got into mobiles and things like that, and the eye system and things like this. But somehow people in Fethiye had got to hear that there was going to be this group, and people got in contact either with Hamish or with me. So there are our friends that we made who are still friends.
Wow.
Who came in through that. And I still haven't really worked out how that happened, because here the group in Fethiye had a huge smash up, break up, and argument.
Wow.
Sometime after that. I mean, it was an extraordinary business anyway. So they came over and we started looking around, and we looked at where the energy lines were in Kalkan, and we went down to, it's the Chimera or Chimera.
That's it, Chimera. Yes.
Chimera. In Turkish,
yes.
Chimera.
That's right, Chimera.
Where the eternal flame, which is methane gas, is pouring out of the rocks. And it lights itself, or it puts itself out.
Right.
And it's quite an extraordinary place. So this was one of the places that we went to.
To unblock the ley line.
And when Hamish and Bar dowsed, it was where two major ley lines crossed, one north-south that went down through Africa, and one east-west that went through Washington, D.C., would you believe?
Wow.
So went through probably the White House, was influenced by that. And it was, they used the lemniscate, which is a figure of 8. And I think the western loop of the 8 was smaller than the eastern one. It needed rebalancing.
Okay.
And we had a woman called Beth, who I'd worked with in meditations, who I found, actually, I was working way back with a Paramahansa Yogananda, an Indian guru guide who had died several times before, and whose guide, when I saw his photographs, Sri Yukteswar, I just knew him. I cried. I don't know how I knew him, but I knew him. So Beth, unbeknown to me, he was her guide and guru as well. So she came and she led the meditation, and we walked, I think I told you, we walked up this mountainside. It's rock with crevices. So many of the crevices had flames coming out. It's extraordinary place on a slope, white gray rock. And it wasn't crumbling, you know, there weren't bits of it. And they looked around, they dowsed, and we all looked around and then found this lemniscate, and Hamish said we needed to do a meditation. At the same time, below us, out from the end, you went there, it's extraordinary. You go up through this woodland.
That's right.
Up the steps from a long way. It really is a magical spirit. Physical too.
Yeah.
And on the way up, there were guardians, and very close to the end, to the entrance, there was, I don't know whether it was a frog or whether it was a leopard. I used to know, and I'm sorry, my memory gets faulty these days, but there was a rock with an animal, which I knew because at Penara, there's a very similar one. There were guardian rocks on the way. And then you come out like a circle. You come out of the trees onto this huge, vast space of rock going up in front of you to the mountaintop. So physically, it's a powerful experience as well. And below us, as we were about to start, we got into a circle and we were about to start our ceremony. 2 teachers came up with some primary age children to see this space with toasting forks and bread and burgers and sausages and burgers.
Marshmallows. Yeah.
No, they're not American. To cook on they didn't come up to us. They were doing it below.
Yeah.
And I'm much more of an anxious, jumpy type. That our group said, no, we'll just take no notice of this. They're fine. They're doing their own stuff. They're not interested in us. The children were so excited. And it was lovely, actually, to have that young energy looking back.
Yeah.
And we stood in a circle, and had all been asked to bring gold. And I had a ring that had gold in it. So everybody, if they had, or watch or something like this. And we got deep into meditation. And it was very hard because there were tourists. And above us, there were some tourists. And I think I told this story before, that there was a German tourist with his girlfriend above us. And I'm trying really hard to hold the energy and the visualization. And he's shouting, oh, these people, he said, I hate people that do this sort of thing. So, oh my God, this is so embarrassing, he said. And so you had to really, really focus. And the idea was the chalice, and the chalice filling up with liquid gold. And at the point which Beth said, and it's flowing over and it's flowing down the lines, I actually saw the chalice and saw this molten gold flow over the edges.
Wow.
Inwardly. So that was quite extraordinary. And then a friend, Jane, who lived in north of Fethiye, she discovered a little chapel, a very early Christian chapel when you're standing at the entrance to the right-hand side.
Right.
And there was some work that needed doing there.
Yeah.
So it was an extraordinary. And then Hamish and Bar dowsed, and the lemniscate had corrected itself.
Wow.
And if you look at Hamish's books, The Sun and the Serpent and the Dance of the Dragon, I think it was The Sun and the Serpent where they followed the ley line all the way to Israel and Armageddon. Now, what was I going to say about that? That he shows a number of the patterns that they met. When you've got the energy lines, you have a positive and a negative, like in electricity. And he called one the male and one the female. And the male line tends to choose, if it goes on its own, high places with magnificent views. And the female line tends to choose low places with water, and the nymphs and so on. And if you go to Meriamana, Selçuk, the place there, there are springs right down low, and at the top you've got Meriamana, and the energies are very different, but they're there. So, I mean, those books were so formative. And the extraordinary thing was I lived in Greece with this guide who went very bad energetically at one point. And somebody from Cornwall who I knew from years before came to stay and said she had 2 friends in Cornwall who were following energy lines. And he said, please contact them and see if they would come and visit us at the site we were living in Greece. And they said they were sorry they couldn't. Their agenda was too busy. And it was Hamish and Bar that I met years later when I moved down to Cornwall, and who were so extraordinarily influential in my future life.
Wow. Yeah, because my experience, so because of your experience of the ley lines, I was really drawn to go there too. And my experience, so we walked up the beautiful, like you say, and it feels the pathway up to the flames, it really feels like it's been walked many, many times. The energy there, and the smell is just beautiful. And me and my husband, we had the dog in the backpack. We got to the top of the flames where it opens, and we felt like we couldn't move any further. We were getting pushed back. And I thought, because I'm a bit different in thinking than my husband, I just thought I wouldn't say anything, but I just felt like there was something holding us there.
Yeah.
And in the same time, Morat said, I can't move. And I said, I can't move either. So I said, it's okay, let's just go to the side to this log. And we sat on this log until we thought maybe it was because we were exhausted, but it was just this heavy sense of don't go any further almost. Anyway, we sort of had a few breaths, and then I said, let's go and sit by these flames, because like you said, they were popping up from out of the rock. And we went and sat and we were just admiring. And then all of a sudden it seemed that we were there on our own. And then the tourists came and they all wanted me to take their picture. So they were asking, can I say? That was a bit like, this is not the experience I wanted. But anyway, I was doing it. So we walked right to the top. I felt nothing. And I was just thinking, like, what is it here? What is it here? Anyway, walk back down to where the little chapel is, or the church at the entrance. And I just was looking around, and there's, you know, it's lovely in the views, and I'm still sort of perplexed as to why I needed to go there. And then I sat on some rocks. The dog was wandering around, Morat was sat in front of me, I was behind. And whatever made me do it, I picked up a rock and started tapping around me. So I don't know why. Tap, tap, and it was like dunk, dunk, you know, like a rock sound.
Mhm.
And then this particular rock I'm sat on was ting, ting. And Morat said, what the act? And he said, do that again. And I was going donk, donk around me, and then ting, ting. So much so that people started to come to listen. This rock ting, tinging. And all that I got from it was I was just changing the frequency.
Wow.
And I said to Morat, wow. And I couldn't believe the difference. I've got it on video because the difference. I'm sat on a rock that looked like the other rocks, but this rock had a resonance.
Wow. Have you got that video?
I've got that video. Morat's got it on. My husband's got it on his phone, and it was and you know, people coming over and going like ding ding dong dong, and you could see the ones that were interested or the ones that were like, oh, that's weird. But I was thinking, oh my gosh. So I left it, brought the rock with me, brought it, and then I left that rock when we went up to the Liquor Way. We walked up a section of the Liquor Way, and I took that rock and I left it there.
Wow.
But that experience for me was really, really, and I, you know, and Lynn mentioned our mutual friend that she said, thank you for that, Joe, because we needed that frequency needed to be changed. Or it was just amazing. This one rock that had this sound.
I mean, the extraordinary thing, Joe, is that you've told me how you were blocked and unable to move in.
Yeah. I think I was meant to go to the side.
Well,
I think
several things came to mind, because when I went with my healing teacher, Patricia, to Panara, I mean, we'd been many, many times. We got out of the car and we couldn't move.
There we are.
And it just felt so much the same. And it was going round like vroom, vroom. And we couldn't stand up straight. And we had to go off and sit down and somewhere and sort it out. And messages came through to Patricia, and I had experiences and so on. But also at the same time, I've realized something like that happened in Africa when I wanted to go into a sacred circle. And I asked permission to go in, and I was refused.
Yeah.
And I was never allowed to go in on that one, which I was very miffed about. But in a way, none of us thought to ask permission to enter that circle.
Same for me. I took myself
to the group. We should have asked, is it in order for us to go in?
Yeah.
And we could have said, you know, we're here. Is it in our greatest good and the greatest good of all to go in? So, I mean, there was something happening over that side, and I'll have to see if Lynn or Bar can remember what it was. There was a friend, Jane, and I'm not sure where she is now. She belonged to a group in South America. She followed the Hermetic method of healing, which I don't know much about. And she did quite a lot of work over there, and I went back with her the next year. And the circle we'd created, you could still feel that circle on there. I wonder if we have to go back with Lynn. Yeah,
I mean, the next day I had that severe sick. I was just projectile vomiting everywhere, and it felt just like a purge. It was just such the most interesting experience. And it was only the actual area below Androssan had no feeling for me at all. It just felt nothing. There's nothing there. But this experience going up and down the mountain was amazing. And as you drive from our place to Antalya, there's well, I believe it to be, and if you research it, there's a massive, gigantic tree stump that you can see has been cut from years and years back when they took down our big trees. And most people say, oh, that looks like Tabletop Mountain when they come through. And I have this big calling to go to this tree because it's definitely a tree that's been cut from years and years back when our trees used to reach the heavens. And it's another place where I need to go. And I thought about you then. I was thinking, I wonder if you noticed it when you came by, but maybe somewhere where we could go on our quest into the mountains.
I mean, yes, that may be something to do on the way through to the mountains to see. And also, well, I'll talk to you about Göbekli Tepe another time.
Yeah, I think that Göbekli Tepe was going to come because Rose has actually been, and she's got a wealth of knowledge about Göbekli Tepe. But I feel that that's another video because it's such a beautiful story as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that is still there. That's still unrequited, undone.
Yeah, amazing.
But also on the route there, we touch the top of that lake, or we go by the top of that lake that comes down to the mountain. So it's interesting, isn't it, that once both you and I had been kind of chomping at the bit, wanting to get started with something, we knew not what. This came in from a totally different friend. Shouldn't we be doing something with the skulls? Shouldn't we be doing something with song lines and ley lines?
Yeah.
You've got to activate yourself. I remember years and years ago going to mystic fairs, and I booked to go to 2 or 3 talks. And looking back, they were quite seminal. And one was that message from one was, God cannot move a static object. And the other was, don't listen to the words somebody says, look and see what they've created around them.
Yeah.
When I look at my house at the moment, I think, oh my God. But they've stayed with me, and they're really, really useful.
Yeah.
God cannot move a static object. And we got up and we don't know what we're doing, but we just started doing something.
Yeah. So how do you progress in yourself? As in, like you said, you mentioned the crystal skulls and drumming. You like to drum crystal skulls and crystals. You have many. Isn't Kalkan hasn't your partner Boris a lot of quartz?
Yeah, this is Kalkan is built at the foot of the mountain, and the mountain is quartz.
Wow. See, that's one.
Yeah, so it's an extraordinary place to live. I had some various readings before I came here, and I can't remember who said that. I mean, it's like living on a highly charged computer in a way, and you have to be very tough to live here, because I've seen people come to live here who have mental health problems, and whatever you have, I don't know whether this was a reading or whether it came to me. Whatever you have to deal with within yourself this lifetime, you will be faced with here. And you have to be prepared to look at it and deal with it and be strong enough to deal with it, or you will leave. And it's really interesting how many people leave, not necessarily on spiritual journeys. People come here and love it. We've had a whole group of people here who were very deeply part of Kalkan, very creative people who became very much part of Kalkan life and creating social life in Kalkan, film nights and things like that. One couple, the husband was a fantastic author. He got cancer and died, and so she's left. And they were all part of a social group. And the other couple ran all sorts of events and did extraordinary things here. And they've decided they're going to leave because they have grandchildren and great-grandchildren and things like this. And I see so many people some who can't take the energy, but some who just don't want to be here anymore.
It is definitely a lovely. I've been to many places in Turkey. We travel around, and Kalkan has definitely got a fantastic energy there.
It is an extraordinary energy. Kazım loves crystals.
I've got one here actually that he gave me.
Oh, really? He calls it mining.
A little piece here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I've got them all. They're all around. I mean,
I think I've got one probably with the crystal skulls on the Turkey thing. But no, they're bursting out of the mountain. The D400 goes up the hill above Kalkan and down. And now there is a place you can actually park your car and go across the road and take some of these. He's given them to people from all over the place, really.
That's beautiful, because this is here, you know, wherever people are taking them, there's a piece. It's like the energy is just becoming spread.
Yeah. I mean, years and years ago, when I was with this mentor called Kai Valyananda, he wanted serpentine rock. He lived in Greece, and I used to go and stay fairly regularly. And he would do healing work with plants. And he wanted serpentine rock brought over from Cornwall, because he said it was really needed for the healing of plants. And in Cornwall, on the Lizard, there is red serpentine and green serpentine. There's it's a beautiful rock. And Kynance Cove, which I'm told is a place of fairies, and my favorite place in Cornwall. Very hard to get to physically, and I don't think I can get back now. That is full of this wonderful serpentine rock. So I went down with a group of friends to West Penwith, which is beyond Penzance, and we took a day onto the Lizard, and I think it's called Kynax Sands, and collected, I'm just trying to get this onto the screen, pieces of boulders, small boulders like this, of green or red serpentine, to take out to Greece, to fly from London airport. I mean, that's the story I haven't told you, because I had a heavy bag and I had 3 or 4 of these rocks in there, and it was Virgin Airways. This is years ago. You could do things then that you could never do now.
Never.
I mean, I took tortoises at one stage, which they didn't find. Because they don't belong in England. They belong in the Mediterranean. And so taking them back. But I had these wonderful rocks and plants, which you're not allowed to take now. And they said, what on earth is this? And I told them the story. You know, these are needed for healing out in Greece. And they brought all the staff over to have a look at this. I had to take them all out to show them. Great laughter. Okay, you're completely mad, but go on your way. And I was allowed to take them. I mean, just see how things have changed. This would have been, I don't know, 1980.
Yeah. Well, my beach here, because you know I used to do retreats here, healing retreats, and people used to, you know, it's a bit like a Kalkan energy. You love it from the minute you come, or you're not sure and then you don't return, type of thing. It's a Marmite, you know, you love it or you hate it. But our beach is full of jasper.
Jasper. Oh wow, jasper.
Yeah. Red. Hold on, I'm just gonna throw a bit.
Red jasper.
Red and green jasper.
I don't know if I still have, a red jasper and gold ring.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's why people, I mean, it's raw, it's not polished, but I'm sure that's why people find it so relaxing, because jasper being such a grounding stone, it's such a grounding earth stone.
Absolutely. I mean, I had to wear jasper for quite some time to get me grounded.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that sort of just collecting the dots, really. And the energy here is love to me. I mean, I met my husband here 30 years ago, whatever, but it just feels like love, and something keeps me here. And I was talking to the lady that I did a video with, called Sonia, from the Tree of Knowledge, because we got shut down. We got shut down from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night. Nobody could come in and out, because this is on the peninsula and we're gated, so you've got security to come in and out of it.
How do you mean you got shut? Your center got shut down?
whole of our village, our town, got shut down because NATO was coming.
Oh.
And everywhere around. But no, me being me, the rule breaker, stay in your house. I'm like, no, I'm not. So we walked around and there was divers and army boats, and it was really really dramatic. Like everything was locked down. So I spoke with Sonia about it because I'm like, what the hell is going on? And she said, and because she's a remote viewer, she looked into it and she said that where I live is an off-grid community centre.
Wow.
And I am convinced that we are sat on crystal. I'm convinced of it but not as like Calcan Mountain, but more of a, of what do we call them? Like the piece, like the shard. There is something buried here, I'm sure, because she said you're an off-grid community centre and community point. And I just thought, my God, that makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm. And the mountains above you, I keep saying, are so extraordinary. They are like something from Lord of the Rings.
They are amazing.
And they're so different from anything else. I mean, if you're at all awake or attuned, the first time I saw them, I sat up in the car. What the heck is that? And I'd been there before because we went with Hamish and Company, but I didn't see them from that particular angle.
Yeah.
But they're like no other. It's like they've been picked up and put there from somewhere else.
Are extraordinary. And like you, me and Maura, our journeys now from here to Istanbul, wherever we're driving, are so interesting because we're always noticing, looking at the mountains, the shape, structures, and just how your intuition brings, that could have been this, it's just amazing.
I mean, if you're awake and aware, or if you wake yourself up and you're aware, when we've traveled to Şanlıurfa, I mean, the whole time, and I'm really lucky that Kazım is alert to this sort of thing, and he's tuned as well. That I'm seeing where the mountains have been damaged. I've seen the work that's been done. I refer to them as grandfather or grandmother mountain, and I speak to them, and I greet them as I go through. I apologize. I explain why it's happened, and thank that our journey is so much easier to get where we need to go because of this. Because in certain cultures, probably in the East, I don't mean the Middle East, I mean the Far East. They have ceremonies when they're going to disrupt, when they're going to change things, when they're going to build roads, put buildings in, because it changes the whole nature. I mean, making our garden, I'm aware I have a world which the garden shows to me. But, an insect or an animal, the world will be completely different in the same space that we share.
Yeah.
For a bird, for a lizard, they're our neighbors.
Yeah, and
they're our neighbors too.
Yeah, and there's a YouTube channel called Mud Fossil University, and he has, if you ever get the moment to watch, he believes that our mountains are biology, because he's actually got pieces of rock that he's analyzed, and he has confirmed through his studies and through his knowing that these are parts of biology. And
what are part of biology?
The mountains.
Oh, yeah.
So once we had when we had these initiated forest fires, to me, they revealed sleeping giants. We have a head and we have two bodies lying across the tops of our mountains. And I take people, if they come and visit, I take people to one, and I always say, what can you make of that? And some people are like, oh, I don't know, but they always see, oh my God, it's a head. It's a massive head. And the fires, as tragic as they were, has revealed these sleeping giants. I mean, we could go on and on talking about stuff. I mean, there's so much I could talk about, but they're there in clear view. And I can see them in many mountains, and petrified trees, and the way they cut the trees and slung the I mean, it's just fascinating, Rose, isn't it? And Turkey is got so much of it.
Turkey is full of it. When the one time when we went to Şanlıurfa, we took the long way. We went down the D400 right down to the bottom corner and then turned in, inland. And there were digging out the mountains, but there is a mountain range there, and the end of it was a lion head.
Yeah.
And then another mountain range the other side, and it was a lion gate, and there was one in South Africa. I mean, you just need to be tuned and be alert. I don't mean to praise myself, but so many people can see these and are aware of these, but you just need to be alerted.
Yeah.
But that brings up another thing. I think it was Barry Brailsford who worked with Hamish in New Zealand. I think it's him. He was in touch with the ancient people with the Waitaha there. And he said there are stone people, there are tree people, there are mountain people.
Yes.
And you know who you are. I always collect stones wherever I go, unusual stones. I love trees, but I'm definitely a stone person amongst other things.
A pine cone collector.
A river person.
Because if I go to anywhere, I bring a pine cone back.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you do with them? Do you plant them?
Well, I've got pine cones, dried pine cones on my side. They just go wherever I leave them. They sit, and they're just part of the collection. Yeah, so interesting. And stones. I do like stones and rocks, and I do forage on the beach for the jasmine. But I just love jasper. I just love leaving it there. Yeah, I love leaving it there for it to be of use to others, that are going to sit on that beach this summer, and it's amazing. Rose, this has been fab. I've loved this talk. Have you enjoyed it?
Very much. I had no idea where we would go.
No, it's been, and I love the organic. I mean, we've touched on so many different things that we could really deep dive into, which I think will come naturally as we travel. Yeah. But it's just so nice to talk about stuff that you might not talk to, because the video that I did with Sonia was about, just talking from your heart with people rather than shape-shifting or watering it down, or because the people aren't getting at you or they're looking at you with a blank face. But here we're just talking really openly, and it's beautiful. With
people who see life and the world in the same way, because there's not enough opportunities to do that. No. In Cornwall, I keep advertising it. Cornwall is rich with that. I mean, I moved down there, and it was so formative. It was the most incredible, intense 5 or 6 years. Mm. And so much so that I was shocked to come out of it. Mm. I mean, I knew come out of it in a different way. Well, that's something else I want to throw at you and throw at everybody else here. In Cornwall, I learned that every place had its own angel or spirit. And that's something that we did one time. We did a meditation with a lovely friend called Gail Elaine, and we were talking about Penzance having its angel and needed help. And I talked to Lynn about that. And at one stage, that's why it's so sad that I'm losing my sight, because at some stage I wanted to tune into the spirit or the angel of the place and paint or draw it.
Yes.
Which I thought, but you could still meditate.
Yeah.
And contact the spirit, and that's something we could do in our travels.
Yeah, and also I think if you shut your, I hate the fact that your sight is becoming troublesome, but even with your closed eyes, that vision will still be there. You will still be able to see that.
And I might even be able to paint it if I could just get the place clear enough to do that. But hopefully this coming, the Turkey is difficult, isn't it? Because it doesn't have an autumn or a spring. And it's either blustery and real winter or cold. And you have like maybe a week or 2 weeks of middle weather.
Yeah, you're only middle weather.
And then you're into blasted heat.
I always buy some clothes for that middle weather, and I never get to wear them.
Oh, I know.
Because you put jeans on it. So the middle weather clothes are still like,
I use them for the UK.
Yeah, that's right. And it's you were saying about I love how you talk about you had such a beautiful community in Cornwall, because I've never had that. I've always been doing all this work by myself. I've never been. This is why I'm making these videos as well, because that's a lie actually. With my retreats, I have people come in for over 10 years, so I was doing some great work with people. But my own journey has been really self-focused, because I can be inspired by this, but I never wanted to follow. I never wanted to do any sort of programs or anything like that. Always done it for me. So when I'm hearing about this, I love it. And that's why it's so lovely that we came together from a club that we all joined, that we exited as soon as we knew what it was all about, and became our own friends, which was beautiful. So I really thank that time, that weird time, because we came together as friends, and that's what's brilliant.
It was an extraordinary time, intense in its own way. And it was full of hope and then despair.
Yes. And I couldn't exit it quick enough. I was like one of those galloping horses. I just deleted everything because it just wasn't what it said on the tin. It was so awful. But
a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, I have, what are they called? These special pyramids that you can have, or organized.
I've made one.
I can't. Can you hold it against a coloured background? Oh wow! How big is it? Wow! Yes. What do you do? What do you do?
Actually, I make jewelry. I've made jewelry with Orgonite in. I need to send you one actually. This is what I do in my spare time. I make Orgonite.
Oh. I mean, because of, I won't mention the name, but because when the broadcasts were on, there were a whole lot of orgonite or orgon pyramids that people had sent through to this leader. And I was so fascinated, I sent off, I've got a whole lot of them. And they sit on the altar, they sit by my bed with an angel. But I'm not quite sure. I don't know really. I love the crystals. I love to have them around, but I really don't. I'm not a crystal worker, so I don't really know what to do with them. Just to have them there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I have to. Yeah, I have thought about making one because I know your colours are blue, and I've got some lovely blue stones and crystals. But yeah, I haven't. I'm usually wearing one here on my hypothermos, isn't it? Your hypothermos.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, because that's a great place for it to be. But yeah, how interesting that you brought that up. But yeah, that's what I do when I'm potting around.
You put stuff inside?
Yeah. I got I make all the copper spirals.
And what are they supposed to do?
Well, it brings in, and it's a bit like the negative and the positive. It brings in and it takes.
Wow.
So I have this one sat next to my Wi-Fi box because that's always horrible, isn't it? That energy. And then I have a little one under my pillow when I'm sleeping, and I've got it's just a lovely
That's really nice thing. Do you need to put them in the light occasionally? You don't, do you? Because they're.
I haven't heard of that. No, I think that once
with crystals you do.
Yeah, I think the way I make mine is my dog's gonna bark. Is I've always got a lovely frequency, but I'm always in a great space. I'm not just sort of banging them together. There's thought into them. Okay. It's okay. But yeah, anyway, that's another story. We could talk about that another time as well. Yeah, like you, I've got them everywhere. I've got things everywhere.
Wow, that's extraordinary. I mean, there was one, a beautiful pink one with a tree in it, and they sold out before I could get it. I just love them. These have got gold or copper. I'll show you at some stage. They're not here. Oh wow.
Yes, so they're so beautiful to create because they just look spectacular.
Do you sell them to your guests?
I haven't done enough to sell or anything like that. I sent one to Janet for Christmas as a Christmas present, and I bought some new molds because my mold was very shallow, so I bought a deeper mold. But I've bought some lovely crystals that I hand chose. But yeah, it's really nice. But the central one is always a quartz crystal with the copper wire around. I mean, I'm a real novice. If somebody's watching this that's really into Orgonite, then I really am a novice, but I just love creating them.
They are so, so beautiful. What I miss here in Turkey is windowsills. It sounds silly, but there's no windowsill, and you've got mosquito netting things that you have to. Do they come inwards or outwards? I can't remember. Outwards, I think.
Yeah.
No, inward. And I love to have things standing on a windowsill with the light coming in. And there is nothing, you don't have that here.
No.
Certainly not in this place.
I have got windowsills, but then I've designed it with windowsills.
Designed this place to have it built?
Yeah, we built it, but ours have all got windowsills, so I've got crystals everywhere, like all on every windowsill.
No, I mean, I've got so little wall space for pictures and so little shelf space for displaying.
Oh,
To actually get an altar.
yeah.
I have a small one, but it has to be transported. No, I do now. That's the crystal skulls and our stuff there.
Oh, we'll have to go into crystal skulls next time, but I think this is a great place to pause this part 2. And thank you so much for your time. I've had a lovely time.
Thank you, Joe. It's been fantastic. And thanks to everybody for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody got any questions or thoughts for Rose?
Would be really fascinating to link up.
Yeah, our aim is to meet other lovely souls like us, energy souls that are just interested in any of the topics, and we're really happy to sort of grow this community and just have fun. If
it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
No, exactly. And I've had great fun today. I'm going to close this one today. Thank you so much, Rose. I look forward to our next one.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.